like that.
What's the first thing you plan to do?
Go hug my son.
Mr. Govan, you haven't smiled all this week, but obviously you have a lot to smile about. Just tell me just about what you're feeling in right now.
Like I said, it's kind of hard to explain the feeling of getting your life back.
Well, I feel like, man, whatever you do wrong must come back around in a circle. Just like you know what I'm talking about? If you did wrong and everybody know it's blatant, the truth is out in the open. You sent that type of energy towards the young Dolph way, and you got no young Dolph knocked off. I talked to Govan. I did an interview with Hernandez Govan, the dude who set the whole supposedly, you know what I'm saying, Dolph murder.
It looks like CMG might be crumbling right in front of our eyes. For years, whispers circled about cracks in Yo Gotti's empire. But now, those whispers just turned into blaring alarms. Stan G, one of the most tapped-in voices out of Memphis, just went on No Jumper and basically said out loud what everyone else was too scared to even hint at. Yo Gotti might actually take out his own artist, Black Youngsta. And this isn't coming from trolls online. This is coming from someone who's been face-to-face with the streets, someone who's interviewed the same people tied to Young Dolph's case. That makes it way heavier. If Stan G is saying this, it's not gossip, it's a real warning. When Stan G sat down for that interview, he didn't sugarcoat anything. He came straight out with it. The same energy Yo Gotti put on young Dolph is what got Dolph killed. And if Gotti was willing to go that far with an enemy, Stan G asked the question everyone else is too nervous to say out loud. What makes you think he wouldn't do the same to someone in his own camp if things got messy? He even went further, basically calling Black Youngsta a send-off, the guy Gotti would push to do the reckless work, the beefs, the wild stunts, the controversial videos that other rappers in CMG wouldn't dare touch. At first, that role kept the CMG name buzzing. It made headlines, it kept energy around the label, but now, with the Dolph case still hanging heavy in the streets, Stan G said that same role makes Youngsta look less like an asset and more like a liability. And in Gotti's world, liabilities don't last long. That's when things start sounding really dangerous.
When I put out a story, the other day I put out a story, Young Ma had ended up catching a Rico, you know what I'm talking about, and I put out a story. An hour later, the news ran the same story.
Fans didn't miss the message either. They saw it clearly. This wasn't just some random story or a history lesson. Stan G was putting out a warning, plain and simple. Black Youngsta better watch his back. He even reminded people of a hard truth, that what you put out always comes back around. And right now, with how Yo Gotti moves, Youngsta's so-called loyalty might end up being the very thing that puts him in danger. And that's where CMG starts looking shakier than ever before. For a while, CMG looked unstoppable. Yo Gotti had built the roster that everybody wanted. Moneybag Yo was running up the charts. Black Youngsta kept the label in the headlines with his wild antics. And then Glorilla came out of nowhere and blew up almost overnight. From the outside, CMG looked like one big winning family, backing each other up, stacking hits, and dominating the scene. But lately, that picture doesn't match the reality anymore. Moneybag's buzz has slowed down. Youngsta's energy isn't the same. And Gotti, he seems locked in on Glorilla, putting most of his focus on her. But even she's under huge pressure, because right now, she's the only one really carrying the CMG name. Instead of family goals, it's starting to feel more like survival. Like everyone's wondering who's actually safe in this camp.
Hell, at this point, because you lost all the say his last artist is Glorilla. She doing crazy because he putting a crazy bag behind Glorilla.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? So Glorilla, she gonna shine regardless right now. But when he go over there and dealing with them Texas boys, them folk got hit up. Them folk got hit up everywhere he go to, like the Fed watching it. You know what I'm talking about? He signed that boy over here, that boy ended up going to jail. So they watching that boy so close right.
Then came the moment that really got people talking. Fans noticed Black Youngsta quietly took CMG out of his bio and started posting captions that felt like shots. That's when things shifted. It stopped looking like trolling and started feeling like real tension. And right after that, Stan G came with his chilling warning about Yo Gotti possibly turning on Youngsta. Suddenly, it wasn't just speculation. People started believing something serious was happening behind the scenes. Fans are picking up on it too. CMG doesn't look solid like it used to. Every post looks shady, every move feels off, and all that talk about loyalty just doesn't hit the same anymore. The empire doesn't look like family, it looks like it's cracking. But to really understand why things between Yo Gotti and Black Youngsta feel so tense, you have to rewind back to where it all started, with young Dolph. Years ago, Gotti tried to sign Dolph, but Dolph turned him down, flat out. From that moment, everything changed. Gotti didn't just move on, he started trying to block Dolph to slow his career down, but instead of stopping him, the pressure only pushed Dolph to rise even higher. That's when the beef turned deadly serious. Diss tracks, public shots, and real street tension. And who was right there on the front line? Black Youngsta. He wasn't just rapping, he was outside, pulling up in neighborhoods, filming wild videos, taking risks most rappers would never touch.
The only reason I didn't do it, like I could have went over there and got what got it and got the co-signer and sped my whole process up, but at the same time, I couldn't do it because I had too much of my own money and too much of my own time invested into it. So it wouldn't have made sense for me. You see what I'm saying? And man, it's like, that's Memphis, bro. That town is too small. You know what I mean? Like, whatever, if anything, if he wanted to do something, I wanted to do something, bro, it's like, let's do it. That town is small. You know what I'm saying?
I'm glad to hear that.
It's just Memphis one of them cities like that. You know what I mean? Like, if you pay attention, it always been a artist at the city center. I'm the king of Memphis. I'm the king of Memphis. That's why it done been so hard for other artists to pop out and take off, because everybody want to be that the big one is just me. You know what I mean? But
back then, people thought it was just part of his image. Youngsta playing the wild card role. But looking back now, it was way too reckless. Even Stan G later said those were federal moves, because Youngsta was putting himself in situations that could only bring heat back onto him and CMG. So when young Dolph was killed in Memphis, all eyes went straight to Yo Gotti's camp. And Black Youngsta was right in the middle of it. Even if nothing was ever legally proven against Yo Gotti or Black Youngsta in connection to Dolph's murder, the streets already made up their mind, and once people start linking your name to something like that, it sticks forever. That's the shadow hanging over CMG right now, and it's also why Youngsta doesn't look like an asset anymore. Instead, he looks like a reminder of something the label can't escape. There was a time when Black Youngsta was CMG's wild card, the spark that kept the label lit. He was the one clowning online, throwing money around, pulling wild stunts, and making sure people were always talking about CMG. Anytime Yo Gotti needed the energy turned up, Youngsta was there. Fans looked at him as the loyal soldier, the kind of artist who would ride for the team no matter what.
Hey man, y'all rich tell them bitch what it is, bro.
Fly fan shit, y'all fly niggas, CMG shit. Y'all rich niggas, never count shit.
Nah, I would never f them broke ass. Like, shit. When I was broke, why would I f them now they broke? It ain't my fault you broke. You weren't playing on me. I'm telling my mom you. Ooh, I'm pregnant. Ooh, my shoe just fell out. Ooh, my head just fell out. Ooh.
But Stan G doesn't see it that way. In his eyes, Youngsta wasn't just being loyal, he was being used. He straight up called Youngsta one of the biggest sendouts in Memphis, basically saying Yo Gotti would send him to do all the risky work, stir up beefs, and carry out moves Gotti didn't want tied to his own hands. And when you look back, that's exactly how it played out. Gotti stayed the calm, collected boss. Meanwhile, Youngsta was the one on camera wilding out, pulling stunts that went viral but brought heat straight back to the camp.
For a long time, see, it's a long story behind Black Youngsta. See, Black Youngsta was hanging with one of Gotti enemies before he got with Gotti. Okay. So Black Youngsta is somebody who just jump around for the money. He's just a send out. He one of the biggest send outs from Memphis. They're just keeping it real.
The problem is that kind of role has an expiration date. After Dolph's death, the antics stopped looking funny and started looking dangerous. Every discussion, every stunt, every reckless move. Instead of being CMG's spark, Youngsta turned into the one holding all the baggage. The streets started tying it all to him. And now, he's gone quiet. Stan G even said Youngsta is basically in hide mode because the Dolph case is still casting a shadow. To the streets, that makes him look finished. And to Gotti, it makes him look like a liability. The type of person who could bring the wrong kind of attention at the worst possible time. And here's where it really starts to get obvious that something isn't right. Black Youngsta has gone viral more than once for taking CMG out of his bio and claiming he's independent. Each time fans start speculating like crazy, only for him to eventually pop back up around Gotti like nothing happened. But this time, it feels different. The energy is shifting, and people can't shake the feeling that maybe Youngsta is finally done playing the role CMG gave him. Right after Stan G dropped his warning, Black Youngsta went on a posting spree, and these weren't random rants. He was taking aim directly at the type of roles Yo Gotti has always been associated with. He called out fake CEOs, fake big homies, fake brothers, all titles people have used to describe Gotti over the years. Then he doubled down, saying he was done with fake love, fake loyalty, and putting trust in the wrong people. If that's not a shot at Gotti, what is?
It's like, cause bro, it's like, if you so gangster, why the f you rap? Why you ain't out there killing? You need to go do some murders, bro. You know what I'm saying? If you're a killer, go kill some shit. You right here on this stage for, you know what I'm saying? So I look at it like, so many people want to be rappers. And so many people I ain't no rapper, I'm a street. You know what I'm saying? It's just so much bullshit. So I had to wonder to myself, like, what the f am I? You know what I'm saying? All these to be lying like, they this and they that. But what, I had to really think like, what am I? Now like, I'm not a rapper. Cause I like rapping, but I'm telling my side, but I really like entertaining people.
What really shook fans was the tone. These weren't funny captions or trolling antics. Youngsta was emotional. He talked about losing friends, being alone, and knowing he could be touched no matter how much money he had. That doesn't sound like the class clown of CMG, that sounds like someone who knows he's in danger. And the timing, too perfect to ignore. Right when people were already whispering that CMG was falling apart, Youngsta himself was practically confirming that not everything was cool behind the scenes, even if he never dropped Gotti's name directly. Everyone caught the message, and here's where it gets even scarier. Yo Gotti has always styled himself as a mob boss. His stage name literally comes from John Gotti, and he leans into that image heavy. So when Youngsta started ranting about fake CEOs, Gotti clapped back in his own way, with mafia-coded bars, sampling Jay-Z's legendary Dynasty intro. It wasn't just a flex, it was a reminder, a signal of who really calls the shots.
You come well regarded. I mean, Sean Jay-Z Carter speaks very highly of you, right? I mean, Steve Stout speaks very highly of you. You know, I can't find a person that says anything bad about Yo Gotti, and they always say how smart you are, how focused you are, and a lot to get into about your business personality.
And in a mob-style structure, breaking rank isn't just disrespect, it's betrayal, and betrayal doesn't end clean. If we're being real, this is where the tension between Gotti and Youngsta went from whispers to something everyone could see, because after Dolph's death, the streets were already pointing fingers at CMG. Gotti's own brother, Big Jook, was picked up and questioned by police, and recently, the alleged shooter, Hernandez Govan, was acquitted, sparking even more controversy.
We, the jury, found the defendant, Hernandez Govan, not guilty in count 2 of the indictment.
It was said more than once as the 45-year-old was acquitted on both counts. Govan was unable to contain his excitement as he embraced his pro bono defense attorneys, but out of view were the supporters of Young Dolph who were hoping Lady Justice would tip in their favor.
The last thing Gotti needed was someone from his own camp adding fuel to that fire. But that's exactly what Black Youngsta did. He dropped a video at a gravesite, standing right next to a headstone with Dolph's last name on it. And if that wasn't reckless enough, he kept posting wild content online like he didn't care what anybody thought. For the streets, that was crossing the line. And for Gotti, it was a nightmare, because in his world, actions like that don't just bring attention, they bring problems, big ones. What Black Youngsta probably saw as loyalty, being reckless, being down for CMG, ready to ride at all costs, started looking completely different to the outside world. To fans, what once felt like commitment now looked like reckless behavior that could bring the whole label down. And for Gotti, that wasn't loyalty anymore, that was bad for business. From that point, the cracks between them were impossible to hide. CMG just doesn't look as strong as it used to. Moneybag Yo's buzz has slowed down. 42 Doug is tied up in legal trouble. Youngsta's gone quiet, and Stan G even said it himself. Gotti can't move the way he used to. There's too much heat around his name after Dolph's death. Right now, the only artist really carrying weight is Glorilla, but one star alone can't keep an empire together, and fans know it. Instead of asking, who's next to blow up, people are asking, who's next to fall out? And that's where the fear for Youngsta gets real. Because here's the thing, Yo Gotti isn't just a rapper. He's connected, deeply connected. Stan G made it clear, Gotti has ties in high places. If he wants somebody's career over, it's over. If he wants legal problems to suddenly show up for someone, that can happen too. So when Black Youngsta shades him online, it's not just rebellion, it's dangerous. In Gotti's world, being labeled a liability isn't just about losing your spot on the roster. It could mean losing everything. And let's be honest, if Yo Gotti and Black Youngsta really go to war, this won't just be another rap beef. This could get ugly fast. Gotti moves like the president of Memphis. He's got money, influence, and connections that stretch way past the studio. If things get violent, it's not just rappers dropping diss tracks. It's families, friends, and entire crews that could get caught in the crossfire. And on the other side, Black Youngsta isn't the type to roll over. He's built his whole identity on being unpredictable, on going further than people expect, on being the one willing to cross lines others won't. That makes this situation explosive because when both sides have everything to lose, nobody backs down easy. Black Youngsta has always been reckless, emotional, and unafraid to say exactly what's on his mind. That's what made him stand out. But now, that same unpredictability, when it collides with Yo Gotti's boss-style moves, feels like a recipe for disaster. Fans are already bracing themselves. Nobody wants to see another tragedy like what happened with Dolph. But with Youngsta openly calling out fake CEOs and Stan G literally warning that Gotti could turn on his own artist, the writing on the wall is getting harder to ignore. And here's the scary part. This isn't just about one artist and one boss. If Gotti and Youngsta don't find a way to fix this, CMG might not just lose an artist. It could lose its entire legacy. The empire Gotti spent years building could come crashing down, all because the loyalty inside the camp has cracked beyond repair. So now the question isn't if CMG is falling apart. That much is already clear. The real question is, how far will Yo Gotti go to keep control? Will this tension end in silence, with Youngsta quietly phased out? Or could it spiral into something much darker, something that could stain CMG forever? Because if Stan G is right, Black Youngsta might be standing on the edge of something way more dangerous than rap beef. And the fallout, it won't just change CMG, it could change Memphis music forever. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. See you on the next one.